Welcome back to the Wizard Weekly, more like monthly, where we talk about everything that's happening right now in gaming. There's games out there that are trying to be as funny as possible when delivering their gameplay to you, which we can all appreciate at some point in time, but there's also games that contain a mega starmy evolution that is just downright comical, two very different levels of hilarious. It does suck that we haven't been able to talk new video game news in such a crucial time for the Nintendo Switch 2 getting its feet off the ground, where all the early adopters aren't getting an abundance of new games, but instead a bunch of old remastered ports and a bunch of random error codes. But I guess you could say that Nintendo was somewhat on an uptick from that very steep slope of the console's launch, where after the pretty successful launch of Donkey Kong Bonanza back in July, just this month in October, we got the long-awaited sequel spin-off Pokemon game of Legends C through A finally releasing, which is a blessing and a curse. Blessing for all the Nintendo Switch 2 fans looking for something new to put on that console, and also for all the obvious Pokemon fans who have more tolerance for abuse than all of your childhood game CDs that are scratched up but still work to this day somehow. But for literally, I shit you not, everyone else, they see this game as somewhat of a failure on Game Freak's part for it still being stuck on graphics and performance, where a spin-off series that's supposed to be this testing playground to try out all these different routes on the already known Pokemon formula can be just held back by all this lacking graphical prowess. Now, like that one Chris Brown song, I am hating from the outside in because I can't get in. I don't have a Nintendo Switch 2 and I don't have this game for Nintendo Switch because no. But as cool as it is to see all the mega evolutions come back along with all the new ones added, and even the new Xenoblade gameplay and Pokemon battles where you actually have to battle in real time, like ducking and tucking your Pokemon to gain an advantage, just seeing how this game runs is genuinely appalling, even on the new Switch 2 enhanced graphics. Like, I'm sure by now on social media you've seen all the buildings in Lumio City that look like cardboard cutouts, like straight from that first scene in Toy Story of Andy's room. But what I found out today right before recording, which I didn't know because I've only seen the battles within this game, like nothing of the free roam elements, apparently NPCs within this game in certain zones just stand around like they have a quest to give you in World of Warcraft. Like, they just stand there freaking creepy. Like, the only thing going through my mind as I sit here looking at this picture of Lumio City's citizens, obviously with their body stuck on fentanyl, and this person's random avatar with a pretty fresh fit, minus the shoes, is that this game is $70 from a company that has one of the most prestigious game IPs in history, not just for the Nintendo Switch 2 or the Nintendo Switch, but in history. Like, the only thing that I can think of is that, well, obviously Game Freak, they're going to be able to coast on the Pokemon IP for the eternity of time. Obviously that's not going to change, but if I were to play devil's advocate just for the sake of doing so, I'd say that they started developing this title in the same like era of Pokemon Scarlet and Violet and the original Pokemon Legends Arceus, or Arceus, however you say it, and keeping the original Nintendo Switch in the same rotation as this game went into the obvious Nintendo Switch 2 lineup was the reason for them using the same engine and basically the same game just in a different city and a bunch of new mechanics, you know, for battling. That's the best I can come up with to, I guess, defend Game Freak, but there's nothing you can defend even then, because Pokemon Scarlet and Violet was terrible hardware speaking when you compare it to another title on the same platform like Zelda. Now, there has been leaks for Pokemon Generation 10, which is rumored to be Wind and, what is the other one? Wind and Wave, which have me hopeful for the future of Pokemon to finally look like a current generation title. But even then, man, I just hate the precedent set for the acceptance of lack of quality within Pokemon games that's been going on for a very long time. And then the fact that Nintendo is trying to cover up or legally get rid of all the other battler type games where you gotta catch and it's sort of like Pokemon. They want to keep us with only having this instead of another game like Power World. Like, you want to keep me with this instead of literally anything else. That's gotta be a crime. I've learned that I've needed a break from Nintendo, but the thing about Nintendo hardware is that they actually have real exclusives and have always had even in the past generation, so you can only really play their games on their systems legally. This whole next segment is full of hypotheticals with nothing concrete. I mean, I don't condone you to do anything illegal, and I might not even be real. But for the ones out there that like to retro emulate on third-party devices, Anbernic, one of the most prestigious companies in the whole retro emulation space, 2 weeks ago, they revealed that they were making their first ever dual screen handheld system, codenamed the RGDS. Legally distinct, Nintendo, back the fuck off. And based on these concept pictures, you can already tell what this handheld is trying to simulate right now, which your wallet probably is terrified of when you look at those prices on eBay. But in the sea of retro emulators that are pretty much everywhere and are affordable as hell on all fronts, whether you want to go more expensive or something for like $39. The reason this feels like such a win for all people in this space is because it's going to be apparently under $100 for a dual screen system, along with being able to play what we can guess seamlessly 3DS and obviously all DS games that came beforehand. To anyone on the outside, that might not seem anything special with how emulation is, but with how emulation is, having a dual screen system for under $100 is pretty much unheard of in this space. I mean, you have the AYN Thor that gave, I think, the cheapest price we've seen for a dual screen at $249. Not only that, but based on past products, setting up dual screen games on these Android-based emulators can be somewhat tricky to, set up and whatnot. The way that Anbernic showed off the gameplay for the RGDS in their trailer has players hopeful that this entire setup is going to be as easy as just downloading their games, obviously running all the necessary programs, and then just playing it right then and there. Hopefully an installation process that's under an hour at best. But I think anyone even semi-interested should at least be aware that this is somewhere on the horizon. As of right now, we don't have a release date or even an official price, but all we know that it's under $100, and for that alone, I think that anyone, even if you have actual, this word, I'd say why the hell not just pick one up if you can, when this thing finally gets its pre-order date. And then finally for today, I'll get these advertisements out my face. Xbox has had a pretty bittersweet year, if we're being honest, especially with them having this last blow of the Game Pass getting a price increase and then being separated into tiers where all the stuff people wanted from the original tier of Xbox Game Pass being shifted to Game Pass Ultimate. So that's something. But even then, there's still die-hard Xbox fans that are thugging it out through all the rain and ridicule that Microsoft forces down on them as they casually put an Asus ROG Ally with an Xbox logo on it in your face and try to convince you that this is what you need. But it seems that Xbox fans are actually getting a treat that they enjoy, because it's been reported that Halo Combat Evolved, the 2001 game that started off this franchise for Xbox and this entire just whole new generation of first-person shooters, is getting a campaign remaster next year, which is going to be releasing on obviously Xbox PC, but also PlayStation 5. Well, actually Remake. I don't know what this article title is talking about, but everything that was special about Combat Evolved and its whole, sandbox campaign is going to be brought to 9th generation standards and more on the level of Halo Infinite-esque graphics, which, was pretty cool. Now, this is only the campaign, so there's no online PvP that's going to ship with this title, which kind of sucks that you can't relive the full, teabagging experience that was so popular in the mid-2000s. But there will be an up to 4-player co-op mode where you can experience the storyline with hopefully all of your friends, which kind of reminds me of the days of Modern Warfare 3, where me and my brother would play those special op missions where it was split screen and you would have to take down all the people on the plane. He used to sell me so bad in that game. I don't wish that on anyone else in their worst enemy. Anyways, there's no official launch date, but they have confirmed that it's going to be releasing next year in 2026 and day and date with PlayStation 5, which a lot of people are somewhat surprised about this. I don't know why, because for the past 2-3 years, everything about console exclusivity has been, edging towards a release like this where a really major game for either PlayStation or Xbox is going to release day and date with the rival console. Well, not even rivals anymore. There are some players who've been playing Forza Horizon on X, square, circle, and triangle controllers for like the past year now, or whenever that game came out on PlayStation 5. So this is obviously the future of gaming, where console platforms are kind of going to be seen as like personal preference, not really a game preference, an exclusive preference, since, you know, it's pretty obvious that it's profitable for Xbox to put games on PlayStation. And honestly, I do think that's really cool. The only thing about this whole release that I don't think is cool, or at least I'm very skeptical of, is that they've completely rebuilt this game using Unreal Engine 5. And every single game, I'm not exaggerating right now, every single game I've played so far in 2025 that uses Unreal Engine 5, which has only been like 3, it's been a shitty experience. But I have hopes that by then, you know, Unreal Engine 5 will have its kinks patched out, and hopefully it'll be a worthy title. But while we're talking about Halo, I might as well just briefly, you know, share with you guys something I thought I was going to be able to take to the grave. I've never played Halo 2. All right, I'll leave.